Hello, welcome. This is Blockchain Bloom, the blockchain educator. I'm Atul Pink, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about that we are in the crypto bear market. However, we have actually a coin which is in the top 10 and just broke its new all-time high. So actually, some tokens going up, and I would like to talk about a couple of them in this video. Then the possibility again is there for a ceasefire between the US and Iran. Trump was talking about it, but today is Memorial Day, first of all, so actually not a lot of things happening on the stock market in the United States, but let's talk about this as well. We can see also that the global dumping for US Treasury has started. Turkey has dumped a lot of recently. Let's check the outflows of Bitcoin spot ETFs. We have just outflows last week. That's very, very important. The new PCE data coming out this week. Recently, the CPI, PPI was pretty bad, and a lot of other things I'm going to talk about today's video. So it's a jam-packed episode. And don't forget that every single day, I'm bringing you the freshest cryptocurrency blockchain news here on Blockchain Bloom to keep you up to date. So from Monday to Sunday, you getting these short videos, the essence of the news in less than 60 seconds. And once a week, usually on Monday, you getting the big picture, what's happening on the market when I go in more details. So guys, stay tuned because I'm going to talk about a lot of things. And now let's do it. Right, okay, and for start, let's have a look at Bitcoin, which went up 0.8% in the last 24 hours. Ethereum just down a little bit, 0.1%. So we can see no huge moves either to the upside or the downside when we're looking at these two cryptocurrencies. Then, when we're looking at the biggest gainers in the last 24 hours, Humanity up in about 21%, Dexy up a bit more than 20%, Stable up 15%, and losers, we see Venice token down 4%, Uniswap 2.6%, Caspa 2.5%. So again, rather sideways movement. And when we're looking at here the Bitcoin candlestick chart, we can see that we are still in this bear flag. This is here on the weekly. We can even better see it here on the daily. So on the daily, the very first sign when we can start to feel a little bit bullish when it comes to Bitcoin is when we break the 200-day moving average. This hasn't happened so far since we went under it. We had a couple of chances here at the beginning of May, but it didn't go through. And now let's see, are we recovering here or it's going to be a weak one? When we're looking at volume wise, not too much happening right now at the moment. So altogether, Bitcoin, it's still in the bearish position. And but now let's talk about some of the altcoins, and actually the big ones as well, which performing pretty well even in this period when the rest of the crypto market is bearish. So let's name the one which is actually doing extremely well, and that one is, one second, let me share the screen. It's Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid is right now at the 9th place when it comes to the list of cryptocurrencies and by market cap. And this one, look at this performance. This one just formed last week an all-time high, and it was at 64,724 US dollars. Even it went higher where it was in September in 2025. And this is definitely a strong performance if you just think about it, because we are in the bear market. But what is Hype? Hype is basically a perpetual DAX, and when the US market would like to trade, stocks 24/7, they get the opportunity here, and that's why there is liquidity on the market, a lot of things happening on the market. So yeah, that's what we can see. Also, when we're looking at privacy coins, not all of them, because for example, Monero not doing too much right now, but we have here Zcash. Zcash went up since March, beginning of March, 256%. And again, just like Hype, it's not far from its all-time high. If we measure it here, then, we were about just shy of 8% kind of. So again, if you're looking at this performance in the bear market, it's looking pretty good. And when we're looking at smaller tokens, but also some AI-related tokens, we see here Venice token, which went up 2,000%. It's a smaller one, right? But still, since it was down here at the bottom was December last year, and since that it went up. So we do see some of them outperforming the market. But when we're looking at the big picture, we see that the majority of the altcoins is still actually down. And if we go here, for example, this one actually shows, the market excluding Bitcoin and stable coins. And that means pretty much, all the altcoins, which are not stable coin and, obviously not Bitcoin. And then you can see the big picture. You can see how much they are down. So yes, we have some performers doing pretty well, but just think about it. We have a couple of 10 million altcoins. So I don't know how 20, 30 million, I can't even count anymore. And some of them performing very well, some top ones performing very well, but very, very few when we're looking at, the big picture and the full amount of altcoins. And Bitcoin is still, in this kind of downwards trend. Right. So, yeah, this was one thing I wanted to point it out. Then, let's talk about the fact that Donald Trump again announces that the deal is on its way. It won't rush. The time is on their side, but the things are happening and he is doing good deals, no bad ones. So there is, again, as always, for a long time now, a hope that maybe it's happening. And a part of this could be actually that, a 60-day ceasefire extension, a Strait of Hormuz reopening, Iran allowed to sell oil free during the period, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, let's see how it goes on. The news about it coming shortly. But, today is Memorial Day. Let's see how it goes today, tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to see it anyway. Right. Okay. Then another interesting thing when it comes to US treasuries, because some countries started to dump it. For example, recently, Turkey is the one which were selling $13.98 billion worth of US treasury in a single month. And we're looking at the full picture, then we see that it's cutting its holding from 16.9 billion to 1.78 billion. That's like 89% liquidation in 30 days. But we have also here, China has cut its holding to an 18-year low. Japan is also selling. So that's also very interesting what's happening here on the market. Then we have Japanese bond market has been flashing red for weeks, and now the BOJ is finally probably moving. So we had so far 2 board members who voted to hold the rates. Now they going also to rate hikes. So 16th of June could be a day when there will be another rate hike. And it's also important because Japanese investors have less reason to hold US treasuries, again, just what just said before, and the European debt, which drives yield higher globally. And we have already the 30-year US yield at the 19-year high. So yeah, this can something add to it. Right, when we're looking at the inflows, outflows from Bitcoin spot ETFs, we can see that actually last week, the full week, we just had outflows. And actually on the 18th of May, so not long ago, we had the biggest outflow this year, which was more than $648 million US. So that's another thing. When we're looking at PCA data, it also is getting worse over the last couple of months. 28th of May, it's coming out, the new one, obviously the April one. You know, we had out the CPI already, PPI, and that was pretty bad. So yeah, we're still waiting for that. Chances for rate cuts, not that rate cuts, zero, but actually as we move forward towards the months, as you can see, the chances increasing for rate hike. And that's a totally different direction we used to talk about a couple of months ago. And then finally, we have, you know, Kevin Warsh, you know, as the new Fed chair, replacing Jerome Powell. So now this is, yeah, we're going to see the new era, how it plays out. And in these kind of circumstances, for example, Honda reported its first loss in nearly 70 years of history. So it's crazy that we have kind of circumstances when a company which on a yearly basis haven't really lost, now they announced that actually their recent year was in loss. And yeah, 70 years history, that's actually crazy. But it shows definitely things. Another interesting thing is that actually tokenization, it's still in the game when we're looking at the future. Now we have the distributed assets value of real world tokenized assets up to 33.8 billion US dollar. And this is a 1,600% increase in the last 2 years. And, you know, we also have the SEC is leaning towards along trading tokenized assets. So this could be also massive. We do know that BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, is also leaning towards tokenization. So this is just the beginning, but look how sharply it goes up. So in a couple of years, it could be actually major. And finally, we have here that the ECB has rejected the push to ease euro stablecoin reserve rules, with Lagarde warning it would destabilize bank funding. So yeah, EU is doing the totally opposite what the US is doing. There is like 4 crypto, 4 stablecoins. The European Union actually it's not that much like the US. So we're going to see what the future will bring, but this is what we have so far. So we do have some, very few, altcoins performing well in the bear market, but overall the picture is still bearish. Uncertainties on the market. In my opinion, we still not haven't seen the trend change. So I personally waiting for the opportunities, but on the other hand, sooner or later they're going to come, because since October last year we are in the bear market. So for multiple months already when it comes to crypto, and sooner or later that will end. But don't forget, every single day I bring you the freshest cryptocurrency and blockchain news here on Blockchain Bloom. So I keep you up to date, even we are in the bull market or the bear market, or we're just doing sideways action. And yeah, once a week I bring you these kind of longer videos when I go more in depth. So if you subscribe, you won't miss a single important thing. Have a good one. See you in the next one. Bye bye.